What's news in the world of travel?
All right, but before we do anything else, let's go to our travel talk segment. Bev Malzard is the editor of Australia's premier travel magazine called Get Up and Go. And I love this because when I checked it out on the web, I noted that it's not for oldies or seniors. Is it, Bev?
No, it's for grown-ups, Glenn.
It's for grown-ups. I like it. Grown-ups who are over 50.
Well, that's right.
Yeah. Well, we are grown-ups when we're over 50 because, we're not seniors. That's an awful word, seniors. That needs to be taken totally out of the vocabulary.
Yeah, I don't know why it's we persist with it because we're everything except senior.
Yeah.
And I think by the time you hit 50 or 55, you're ready to really get up and go then. You know your place in the world, you know where you want to go back to, and you've got the energy.
That's it, because you've probably been to that particular place in the world when you were maybe a uni dropout or a backpacker or whatever you were, and you did it pretty rough at the time and didn't do half the things you would have liked to have done and certainly didn't do it comfortably.
Well, indeed, I travelled a lot. I had many interruptions to my career because I'd work a few jobs and then just take off. And I often did it by the seat of my pants. I went to Greece once for 3 months and stayed 3 years.
Oh, really?
Like when we'd find work and there was other Australians travelling, but I couldn't afford, the nice hotels or anything that comes with, and I don't do 5-star all the time now, but I can certainly have a nice room and a comfortable way of getting, from A to B.
Yeah, and why not? I well remember sitting and listening to John Anderson, the founder of Contiki, a couple of years ago when he told his story, as he does now around the traps as a public speaker and keynote speaker, about, similar to what you just said, wanting to travel, wanting to see Europe, not having the money to do so as a young bloke, and went and bought that beat-up old second-hand bus that he bought and then conned another 10 or 11 people into paying £100 or something, or no, I don't think it was even that much. I think it was about £20 to go and see Europe with him. And what he didn't realise was that he was about to embark on an adventure that was going to set up a company called Contiki, which many years down the track he would sell for, I think, in excess of $200 million.
I know, well, there was that adventurousness with Australians when I was travelling, like in the late 70s and 80s. Other countries, like Americans, they had short time, for their holidays, and they just didn't stay away like we did. And we all just stayed away and had a good time.
Yeah.
And most of us came back and we kind of found out what we wanted to do with our life. I just think it gave us a lot of confidence, and we had that go-to attitude. Like I'd wake up and think, gee, I need a job, I'm out of money. And I'd walk down the King's Road and get a job in a restaurant or something.
That's it.
Because that's what you did.
Save enough dough and then start all over again. I often say to my kids, I've got 3 kids that are all young adults, and if we're going away somewhere on a trip, you can see that look of, oh, why can't we come, or I'd like to go with you sort of thing. And I quite often say to them, you know what, the beauty of Europe and America and all these other parts of the world is that they've been there for a long time and they'll continue to be there for many years to come. So, save up, kids.
Indeed, work for it.
Tell us about the magazine, though, because it's great. Get Up and Go magazine, it's very comprehensive and you've really geared it for us older kids.
That's right. It's a gorgeous glossy quarterly magazine, and we kind of plan specials each issue to suit the seasons. What's happened at the moment is we're just about to release our spring edition, and it's got the Europe special in it, or Europe's extravaganza.
Yeah, Europe's as popular as it's ever been, probably more so these days with European river cruising and all that.
Oh no, look, it never goes away, and it's just. Europe continues to reinvent itself for visitors. Like I've got stuff that goes from Ireland to Istanbul and everything in the middle. Because Ireland's still Europe and one side of the Bosphorus is, in Istanbul is Europe. So much to do, and to do it in so many different ways. Eastern Europe is incredibly exciting for people now because it's been opened up over the last few years, and river cruising there is very popular.
So is that places like Croatia, Dubrovnik and this sort of area?
Yes. The Czech Republic, Prague, Budapest, places like that are, just drawing people to them. And along Prague and Budapest, the river cruising is very popular because it just stops and people can see little villages and places that aren't overrun with tourists and are even quite naive to a lot of like Western tourists. So they're exciting places.
The other thing I noticed too on the website is that, there's a whole range of topics that you cover, not just destinations. For example, voluntourism. You might like to enlighten us a little bit about what voluntourism is all about.
Voluntourism is it's an interesting phenomenon. You kind of get young people or people of our interesting age doing this rather than the people in the middle, because the ones in the middle are busy raising families. But voluntourism is where you actually pay to go and help somebody, and you might end up in Thailand in an elephant camp, and you pay a couple of extra $1,000. You've got accommodation, you've got food, and people go there to help with the animals, and then they might go off and have their own discovery holiday afterwards, or you could be tagging animals in Africa or working in orphanages or helping building. The younger people have got the time, and the older people have got the time and the skills. You never know where your skills will be needed. People teach English, they help build, they do all sorts of things, and it's a very exciting and giving. I think the baby boomer generation is a giving generation. They've had a lot of good stuff happen to them, and they're just giving back, which doesn't mean they're sweltering and suffering for an entire month. A lot of people go and do the voluntourism. They do their bit, then they'll go off to a spa or do a golfing holiday, or make the most of whatever destination.
Yeah, but they've done that feel-good thing on the tour instead of just doing a tour where you go around, you see Buckingham Palace and the Tower of London, all the usual things. This time you're actually seeing a part of the world which is exciting, but you're getting involved, getting your hands dirty, and I guess coming away with a real practical experience that'd be a talking point forever.
And the thing is, though, you're actually involved with communities, because most times we holiday, we'll meet people in pubs or restaurants or shops or whatever, but we don't sit down and talk to, people in the street about their lives. And we featured a story a couple of years ago which I found very moving, and one of Australia's great writers, Lee Milne, did a story on, she was walking in Peru, and that group spent 2 days in a small village where people were still wearing national costume, building a well for these people and, fences. So they all worked really hard for 2 days. Then they went off and had their holiday, and this whole village, their lives changed.
Yeah, fantastic. Great story. Great story. You can read a whole bunch of things like this in Get Up and Go magazine. It's on the net, and listeners, of course, can get on there and subscribe. 4 issues a year, Bev, right?
That's right, yes.
And the spring issue about to hit the decks, and Europe, of course, getting a big feature in that because it's such a popular destination these days. Getupandgo.net.au, is that right?
That's right. So get up and go and grab your copy now.
Exactly, well said. Thank you, Bev Malzard.
Thanks, Glenn. Good night.
And thank you for looking after us grown-up kids.
Well, just behave.
No, I'm never going to behave, and I'm never going to grow up enough.
Okay, Glenn.
Thank you, Bev. Good on you. Bev Malzard there, the editor of Get Up and Go, and you can check it out on the net by going to getupandgo.net.au. It's 7:30 on Saturday night on 2GB 873 and Melbourne Talk Radio 1377. I'm Glenn Wheeler, and this is